Hello, and welcome back to another uh, warm up, rambling, drawing video. Today is not as cold as it was yesterday, it feels like, even though it's the same like temperature, but yeah, today's just not as cold, even though it says the same temperature as yesterday. I feel like that's gonna be a bit confusing because it's these are not like back to back, so they might you might see this on the same week, but it's not like the same. It won't be like right afterwards. It'll be like you know two videos in between this one or something like that. And I am going to stop talking about the upload schedule, but here we are out again, and it's a little bit amusing today at least because you can see all the you know the New Year's people. You could tell like it's a fresh start, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I do have some thoughts. I think number one, winter sucks. So you wouldn't plant a bunch of flower seeds or something now. Maybe you would. I don't know. I'm not a gardener, but I feel like you do something like that, you're like intentionally like trying to kill your plants, right? If they don't grow in the wintertime. And the psychology behind that is very strange because you know unless you have like extreme like discipline or like some sort of like motivating factor, that resolution is gonna be it's gonna be a good attempt, I guess, versus like commitment. Like I don't really know too many people who have like New Year's goals and like sticks to them. So, but it is interesting how it can motivate and galvanize many people to pick up and try to improve themselves, which I'm always for. It's not a dig for self improvement. It's just, I guess, poor timing. You know, very poor timing in my opinion. Well, you could better use that energy at a different point, but you know, this is what happens when you undergo collective bargaining with the group. When the group is like, yeah, we're all here. And honestly, I think it would be better if they did have a group. Like I feel like a lot of them are operating independently for obviously personal reasons, but I think if they had like a group, that would be a way that they could survive the New Year resolution sickness, because then they would be able to stick together, you know, hold each other accountable. But on your own, you're not gonna hold yourself accountable. A lot of times I don't even come out to well, not a lot of times, but a couple times, I was taking multiple days in a row off of coming out here and sitting down and putting pen to paper outside. I was doing it in the house, but I don't feel like it's like, for me, it's not the same to record at home, and mostly because this is like, routine building, good for your health, good for your pen, good for everything, right? It's routine building, good for your health, good for it all. And I can't I could probably get the same thing at home with the treadmill and lifting weights maybe, but it feels so more like, taxing to do that because you're constantly thinking about what you're doing versus just doing it. But that's the main other thing is that you don't like it's like, well, and then it's like you could do it anytime you want. So what ends up happening is that you're like, well, I'll just do it later. And then later comes and it just never gets done. It's like a chore. It becomes like a chore. And when you have to go out to do it, it can also be a chore, but there's a different connotation to it, at least in my opinion. But, maybe I start hitting the gym as well. But then it's gonna start, like, I feel like if I did that, it become like, do I do this or do I go to the gym? Because, like, gym gains, I feel like is like a little bit more simple because you do the exercises correctly and maximize your diet, and you can probably achieve something without having to understand why does light do what it does on a shape or something. So I don't know. Also, you start to potentially look better and feel better. But I was thinking about that before, and I was thinking like that about a bunch of other stuff when I was walking, and I thought the problem is that we think something is hard instead of thinking like, well, what could I learn from this? And I think if we employ that, it might be easier for us to grow the thoughts and progress through certain things. You know what I mean? It's something that I only just now thought of, so I'm hoping that I can incorporate that. I would think that, like, obviously, like, these are warm-ups, but like if there was like a horizon line here or whatever, these two vanishing points would be really close, right? Like, that would be a really close vanishing points. It wouldn't match up with this. So what would that even look like? If it was to match up with this, it would just be like that. But how would I make that look like if it was turned? Just put like a line through it. Put the line this way. And then I don't think this one is as like deformed as it was previously. So I believe is better. I don't know. But those are just my thoughts on that, as well as growth, as an artist, and just generally growth as a person. I think you could develop a lot of things if you think about stuff as instead of like, oh, that's hard, thinking about like, what could I learn, and then take it piece by piece. But the problem is that like things on a societal level are commodified to be a skill that could be used to earn value and wealth or something. So what you end up doing is doing things in the basis of, well, how could I get paid from that, or how can I make money on that, or how could I monetize that? And then it becomes, you got to do it fast, because if you could do it fast, then you could get to the goal faster. And I think that in itself is a problem that causes you to have anxiety about learning, and you approach things with like, this is too hard, so it's not worth my time. as well as like, you know, your brain is adverse to learning new things. It's like, yo, you're not doing me a service by forcing me to learn something. I don't like that. Can you stop doing that? And you know, just so just the thought, you know, instead of thinking like, oh, this is too hard, like try to approach it like, well, what can I learn from this? You know, it's difficult, but what can I learn from this? Like, even if it's just one thing. Oh, this is a shape, or these are like, you know, straight or whatever, or this is like curved, or these are just a bunch of like different angles. Just like anything that you could grasp from what it is that you are observing or trying to learn, and just put that forth as an idea. You know, what could I learn from this? And yeah, so just take that away. You know, I'm not an art teacher. I'm forever a student, and not a very good student. You know, pretty mediocre student to BH. Not being self-deprecating, but I feel as if though like I don't put the best effort into everything, because a lot of times I just want to, you know, get in, get dirty, and get out. You know, so it's a really unique situation, but you know, I'm hoping by the time you see this video, I should have a library card, because I do want to start going to the library. So, you know, see what I got, see what I could do, support the arts, support the library. You feel me? But anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon. Hopefully like, comment, and subscribe if you made it this far into the video, and I will see you soon. Here is the final overview, warm-ups, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.